Welcome back. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. You are listening to the Maryam Mkwanda show on Salam Media, and we are also live on Facebook. It is the Wednesday edition. Thank you for joining me. It is time for our fitness and health segment, and joining me on the line is our fitness coach and trainer, Luyanda Aziza Sibisi. Today we are talking about diastasis recti, or postpartum body. It's not my favorite word, but yeah, we can't not talk about this. It's so important. Hi, assalamu alaikum. How are you today?
Walaikum salam, says I'm great. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, all good, and thank you for joining me once again. So, this dreadful word,
I
diastasis recti.
know.
Ah, I mean, what is it, first of all?
So, I mean, it's really just a result of the miraculous event that is pregnancy. Like when you're carrying your baby, obviously things have to shift around, and sometimes things get a bit dislodged. So, what it really
Mm,
is, it's a separation of the abdominal muscle, and so your abdominal muscles. If I can illustrate it on the screen, let's just use my hand. Let's see.
mhm,
So, this is how your abdominal muscles look, right? And then when they separate during pregnancy, they literally do that, right?
mm,
And after pregnancy, obviously they stay separated because obviously they've been making room for this baby to grow. And then after you have the baby, the muscles are literally separated apart from each other. Then it creates this like kind of like a pooch, this like hanging
mm,
stomach. And it's really, really quite concerning for a lot of women who, I mean, for the most part, had very flat stomachs after having a baby. And they're just like, oh my goodness, is this going to be my whole life? And even after they've like lost some of the baby weight, if not like 80% of the baby weight, but their abdominal muscle still really looks very like poochy, so it's a
mhm.
big concern for a lot of women.
I mean, it is. I mean, you were once this person who had, great looking abs, and, you were living your best life, wearing whatever you want to
And
wear. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, baby pooch. I
yes.
can't really take it back. That's the most difficult part.
Yeah.
So, how do you know if you have abdominal separation or a diastasis recti?
Okay, so it's very easy. We've done it on the show before. For those who have
Mm,
never done it before, all you do is you lie flat on your stomach, literally at home, comfortably on a mat. Your lower back literally also has to be touching the mat, right? And you're going to literally feel in between your muscles. So the abdominal muscles should really just be completely sealed. It should be like a gate that is closed. There
mhm,
shouldn't be a space where you feel like your fingers can fit through. So anytime
mhm.
that happens, then you've got a bit of the separation. You can actually tell by just literally putting your fingers in between your abs.
Is this something that many women have, or is it just, some women a bit, or, is there a specific
Oh
age
yeah,
group, a
a
specific
lot of women.
ethnicity?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. No, a lot of women actually have it. 2 out of 3 women. Now that's quite a big statistic. Two out of
Hmm.
three women have this, and it's because if you think about it, unless I don't know how you carry your baby,
Hmm.
um, it's almost inevitable because you have this baby pushing out, and it's actually protective of your body to do that. It's intuitive of your body, the same way your pelvic muscles open up is the same way your abdominals will kind of push forward and separate to make space for the baby. So it's very common.
Hmm. All right. Now, I hope you have good news for me. Is it preventable? Can we get rid of it, or can we fix it rather?
Definitely, definitely. But it's such a delicate situation. I always say to
Hmm.
people, because I've done quite a lot of research. I had one myself. I had a lower separation, and I was like, oh my God, and it created like this lower belly fat, which was so frustrating for me because no matter how much work I would do, I would still feel like, okay, but this area is just so frustrating for me. And it's
Hmm.
definitely fixable. One thing that a lot of women do immediately after they're getting the all clear from their doctor to start exercising again is they start doing like sit-ups or planks or like, bicycle kicks. And that's very, very wrong. In fact, it can make it worse. So there's very, very specific exercises that you need to do to heal the DR. And it's kind of like you have to think about it as repairing yourself from the inside. So you have to work on repairing the core muscles first before you can actually think of doing things like crunches, because our abs are made up of different sections. There's the side, there's the middle, and then there's the transverse, which is the inner abdominal muscle. So the inner abdominal muscles are what need to actually heal. It's not about doing sit-ups at all. In fact, it can make it worse, because what can happen is that your skin can push through the muscles, and then it's even worse. I can't even explain how I've seen like a complicated DR situation. It's very, very sad. So you have to make sure that you're healing from the inside, doing a lot of core work, repairing your pelvic floor, doing Kegel exercises, and taking it easy. It's not about how many minutes you can plank for. It's about whether you're breathing correctly during your exercises. It's got quite a lot of factors that you have to consider. Start slow and then build your way up, because it is a muscle, and a muscle works with what you give it, but gradually.
So if you haven't fixed this DR, can it become worse? Like you just left it hanging there, and you probably thought, no, I'm fine, I don't have one. So can it become something worse?
Well, I mean, you know what the thing is about a muscle is that a muscle can be trained, and it can always like come back and do whatever it needs to do. The problem is the skin. Obviously, the more weight you put on, the more you let it hang, the more abdominal fat kind of builds around that area, right? Because you're not doing anything to build the muscle in that space. And obviously, muscle counteracts the belly fat, actually sitting there. It burns the fat, but then builds the muscle. So if you've left it and you've put on more weight, it hasn't gotten worse in terms of the muscle. The separation is there, it doesn't get worse, but you do you have a lot of loose skin. So even if you do fix the muscles, and the muscles are completely closed and shut together, the problem that a lot of women then have afterwards is the loose hanging skin, which is so difficult to treat. It's kind of like, because the skin is very elastic, and once you've burnt all of the fat, the skin will just kind of look very wrinkled. And that's also quite a concern for a lot of women who've had babies. So my thing is to not leave it for a whole year, because the skin afterwards, then you've got that problem to deal with, and not a lot of women can afford or even want to go for surgery to kind of get tummy tucks and stuff like that. Yeah.
I wish it was that easy, just have all the babies and tummy tuck in. But, all of that comes with a hefty price tag. And
very heavy
if you
price.
can't afford it, then you just have to put in the hard work at home. So,
and Maryam, a lot of women have underlying health issues that will not allow them to even go for surgery. So I would not even keep that in your mind. Like, surgery should be the last option, that's if you even qualify for surgery of that magnitude. So just take it out of your mind and just do the work, honey.
Yeah, many of us want a quick fix, but unfortunately we can't get it. Now, what about waist trainers and girdles? Do they help in any way, or should we avoid that when trying to fix the DR?
Ooh, okay. So like I said, because we're working on the TVA, which is the transverse abdominis, which is the inner muscles, it is like very, okay, I did that in the beginning because waist trainers are so controversial. Women are like, yes, waist trainers do work. Yeah, no, they do this. Like, they are so controversial. I for one, myself, have never tried a waist trainer, because I just feel like, I'm not sure what it does. Like, it doesn't make physiological sense to me what a waist trainer can do that exercise can't do for you even better, everything this is my motto: everything you need is already inside you, and you don't have to go for external. The waist trainer is like, it just does not make any physiological sense to me. Like, what is it doing? What is it doing? Because at the end of the day, the muscle is made up of amino acids, which can only be worked on during exercise and diet. Like, that's the only way you can get to those muscles. And a waist trainer, for me, I'm sorry, doesn't do that. So I think waist trainers don't work, and it can just create better shape, like if you're wearing shapewear, or if you want to like wear a very tight dress, it can work for cosmetic reasons, but I don't feel like it does anything physiologically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what about nutrition? Are there specific foods that we should eat, and anything that we should avoid?
Okay, so definitely avoid sugary foods, high processed foods, and foods that are high in saturated fats, because obviously we know what those do. They create visceral fat. So what visceral fat is it's the fat that surrounds your organs. It's not the subcutaneous fat, which we normally should have, which is to line the skin to create body heat, and it's part of, like, a normal mammal has to have that kind of fat. But visceral fat happens when, as a result of poor diet, so lots of sugar, lots of carbs that are processed, and lots of unhealthy fats. So avoid things like, I do sometimes lean towards the side of saying avoid bananas, because bananas are very high in sugar. There are alternatives to bananas, and they are known to cause the quote unquote belly fat because of the high sugar content. And avoid things like bananas, avoid fatty foods, cakes, sweets, chocolates, chips, slap chips, burgers, fried food, fried chicken, fried fish, all of those things, Maryam. All of them, avoid
No.
and cut out. So, because we need to build the muscle, we need to work on the muscle, and the muscle can only be worked on through a high protein diet and a low carbohydrate. So not zero carbs, but balanced, lower carbs, higher protein, and good fats.
Why?
And you
So
already know
I'm
this, so I don't know why you asked me, because you could have answered the
because
question.
because I'm hoping it's just temporary. I'm hoping that it's just gonna be like for 3 months, fix it, and then I'm back.
No ways.
All right, okay, that's fine. Now I've seen some of your workouts, and we've also done them before, so hopefully we can get Ziad to pull them out from our archives and reach
Yes.
Facebook. But for those who perhaps may not be able to find them, they can find your workouts on Instagram. I've seen them before.
Yes, I've done. And I'm actually doing like a series. I'm doing like a 4-part series. So tomorrow I'm putting up part 2, because remember, we have to start very small. And the first video is on my Instagram and Facebook page at Luyanda Aziza on all platforms. But the thing is, when we start small, I'd rather, like, if I post something tomorrow, don't do tomorrow's one. Go back to week one's one, because I'm doing it over 6 to 8 weeks. I'll see how it goes. But it's literally going to be every single Friday, I'll be posting a new installation of that to help you with that, the mom pooch. Let's just call it the mom pooch, because majority of the time it's women that suffer from it. So yeah, you can definitely check it out there. And just the rule of thumb, I think, like, avoid sit-ups, avoid planking, avoid anything that requires like this vigorous crunching movement, because that will then push the skin out. So it's all of the stuff that works on your core, lifting your legs, doing a lot of leg work, pelvic floor exercises. In fact, it's so ironic. It's less about the abs, but it's more about the legs, because that's what activates the core.
All right, and then what about cardio workouts and high intensity interval training? Can we do that?
Yeah, I mean, cardio is great. Cardio for me is like, when you're making a salad, and then like you add the lettuce first, and then you add the tomatoes, and then you add whatever else. So cardio for me is the lettuce, or whatever your base of your salad is. You have to always have that. But then there's people who are like, I don't like too much lettuce. I feel like when I add too much lettuce, this is how it is. But if I add, some people love a lot of lettuce. So you've got to think about just where you're sitting in your wellness journey. So like for me, for example, too much cardio would obviously burn a lot of fat. And I'm currently on a bit of a weight gain program. So I do very minimal cardio. I do like maybe twice a week of cardio, 30-minute sessions at a go, and high intensity definitely recommend, because that's great for muscle toning and building. So your lettuce is your cardio. Think of it that way. So if you're very, very far in your weight loss journey, you need a lot of lettuce in your salad, which is a lot of cardio. And then the better you get at making salads, like you can then be like, in fact, I won't use salad this time. I'll use like baby spinach. You can start being creative. That's high intensity interval training. So that's the analogy I like to use with my clients. Like, if you're a beginner, stick to the lettuce, and that boring lettuce, you know, the one that comes like in the shrink wrap where you have to separate it yourself. That's the kind of lettuce you need to use. So it's good old fashioned cardio, running, jogging, skipping, aerobics,
Yeah.
good old fashioned cardio. Don't mix it up. Just stick to 45 minutes to an hour of hardcore cardio in the beginning.
All right. So thank you so much for your time. And I hope that our
pleasure.
viewers and listeners do take advantage of those posts that you share on your Instagram page. I am going to be going back to the first one because I did not do it. I was still trying to process
and they'll always be there.
Like, should I do it? Should I start now? When should I start? But anyways, I started this week, and I'm running with it. So yeah,
I'm so
thank
excited.
you so much for your time.
And I'd love to hear progress, because remember, when you put your fingers, you'll start to feel the gap is going to get closed, is going to get smaller. So I'd love for to hear from you. Like, next time we chat, like, has the gap gotten wider? Is it getting smaller? What's happening? You know.
All right, we'll definitely share my comments with you on social media and when we do chat again. But for now, do stay cool, stay warm, and have a lovely day.
Definitely. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Luyanda, fitness trainer, giving us some tips on how we can fix the DR, the diastasis recti, the postpartum body. You can follow her on social media, Instagram especially, and that's where you will find all her workouts and also nutrition and what you can be eating, what you should be avoiding. Like she says, it's all the good stuff. Okay, it's not really good, but it's all those easy to prepare stuff that we always run to when we are looking to eat something. But just some good news. I have started eating vegetables. I'm taking the vegetarian diet. And no, I am not frying my veggies. I am not frying them in deep oil. Neither am I overcooking them and boiling them. They're still crunchy. They're still tasty. And although yesterday I was so tempted to eat chicken, my mom made chicken. And I looked at the chicken and I was like, oh, tempting. Then I said, no, I think I'm gonna stick to my broccoli and cauliflower. That will be my chicken. And it was so good. It was so yummy. And I am taking this vegetarian journey one step at a time. Hashtag meat must fall. For me, that is, and only because of health reasons. And you can do this for yourself, for your own good, for your own health as well. The more vegetables that we include in our diet, the better it is for us, because our bodies need the veggies, they need the fruit, they need the extra vitamins, the extra minerals, the fiber, and everything that we eliminate when we eat meat. And there isn't so much proteins that we think there is when it comes to having meat. But use the resources such as Google to find out what is high in protein, what is high in fiber, what you can eat, what you should avoid, etc., especially when it comes to health and nutrition, and what works best for your body and your system. So it is 11:54. You are listening to the Maryam Mkwanda Show on Salam Media. Just stay with us. We will be right back.